Hi folks, how's it going? Hope we're all keeping well. You're very welcome to our last lockdown lesson of our first week back of history. So yesterday we had a live lesson and we looked at medieval banquets. Of course, medieval banquets only really took place in the castle with lords and nobles and kings and queens, etc. Okay, now we're going to look a little bit at how more common people, so peasants and serfs, what they did for fun and pastimes and what kind of holidays they had. Okay, so we know that serfs had a tough life. It was tough being a serf. You had to work all year doing hard physical manual labor on the land. You didn't really get paid. Okay, you didn't own your land. You had to work on the lord's land, and you basically were working to survive. You were growing food to survive. Okay, you also, if you recall, you had to pay a tax to the church called a tithe, and this was about 10% of the food you grew had to go to the church. Okay. Despite the tough life a serf had, they did have a lot of holidays during the year. Okay, and a lot of the holidays that we still have to this day actually originate from medieval times. Okay, so holidays include things like Easter. We have Easter holidays now. They had Easter holidays in the Middle Ages. They would have had a couple of weeks off during the summer. They had Christmas holidays, and also on Sunday. So Sunday was the kind of obviously holy day. It still is considered a holy day. That very little work was done on Sunday. Okay, and we're going to look in this lesson what they did during some of the holidays and their days off. Okay, so if you look here, one hobby or one pastime that was popular was wrestling and cockfighting. Okay, so wrestling literally were two usually males, two males would literally wrestle each other. Okay, a bit like you might have watched wrestling on the television, something similar to that. And this was like a sport. It was a sport to take part in, and also what serfs did. Serfs would have gambled on it. So serfs and peasants would have placed money or placed bets on who they thought would win the wrestling match. Okay. A second one here, cockfighting. Okay. When you get two male hens, okay, and literally make them fight, or literally they'd put two, I suppose, hens in a cage and they'd fight each other. And again, guys, the aim here was to place money on it. Okay. Place money on the winning hen. Okay. And suppose the aim of it was to one the victorious animal would kill the other one. Okay, so whichever animal died first or got badly injured first was the loser essentially. Okay, and people, you might think, why on earth would people want to go and look at that? But that's just the time. Okay, that's just a hobby people had. If you think back, just a few hundred years before this, in the Roman Empire, Romans used to watch humans fight each other in the Colosseum and in other stadiums. Okay, so medieval times it was animals. So cockfighting was a big pastime, and again, people placed bets on who would win. Okay, um, fairs were very common. Okay, so once a year, a large fair was held on the village green. Okay, so if you look here, guys, you can see, okay, so that we got a medieval town, and we can see here a large fair, and a fair is literally, a market. People would come to buy and sell products, and it was a big, I suppose this was a holiday as well. People took a day off to go to the fair, and they took a day off to go and to buy and sometimes to sell things. Okay, and a lot of places, a lot of parts of the world, or have today, they have special squares in their towns that are named after where fairs used to be. So, for example, in Navan, you've got Market Square. I don't know if you're familiar with the bull statue in Navan. That's where there used to be fairs held there. Okay, in Navan you also have the Fair Green, and there still actually is I kind of suppose markets and fairs held there to this day. Okay, and again, the idea behind this, it was a fair day, so a holiday. Everybody got off work and everyone went to the fair to buy and sell produce. Okay. Um, Christmas, guys. So Christmas, Christmas celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. Okay, Christmas is obviously still a huge celebration to this day in Ireland and Europe, and it absolutely was a massive celebration in medieval times. So at Christmas, serfs had holidays for 12 days. So a bit like us, we get about 2 weeks off school. Serfs had about 12 days off work. Okay, and serfs actually decorated the same way we would have decorated the school. I'm sure you decorated your house. serfs decorated their homes. So cottages were decorated with holly and mistletoe. Okay, and again, they're traditions that they came into existence during the Middle Ages, and they have lasted to this day. Okay, and they look like they'll probably last forever, really, those Christmas traditions. Okay, now what is notable about Christmas is during the Middle Ages, okay, on Christmas Day, the Lord would invite some peasants for a feast in the manor house. So the Lord would select a few peasants and serfs to the manor house for a feast. Okay, now you can imagine if you were a serf and you were used to, barely getting by, barely surviving, and on Christmas Day you were invited to the Lord's castle or manor house for a feast. That would be an unbelievable treat for a serf. Remember, what are some of the things that were served? Well, you would have had peacock, swan, goose. You would have had loads of vegetables, and you would have had your food served on a trencher, which was a stale bread. Okay, this would be stuff that a serf would never get to experience before. So that was a very unique thing about Christmas in the Middle Ages, where the Lord or the king might invite a number of serfs into his home for Christmas dinner. Okay. Um, Another thing again, guys, that we've got from the Middle Ages is this particular word that we're all familiar with, holiday. Okay, so the word holiday, if you say I'm on holidays, I'm going on holiday, that usually refer you either going abroad or going to stay somewhere, or you're just taking a few days off work. Well, the word holiday comes from the medieval term holy day. And a holy day was a religious day where people were not meant to work. So people were not meant to work on these holy days. Okay, and that's where the term holiday comes from, um, I suppose, in the present day. Okay. Another important medieval pastime and festival, you might have seen this before. You might have seen this where there's literally a pole stuck in the ground, okay, and serfs or peasants, they dance around the pole, okay, they dance around the pole. This was known as Maypole, okay, so another large festival was held on May the 1st every year. Everyone gathered around a tree that had been cut down and placed in the center of the village, okay, and the villagers partied and danced around the tree. This festival was known as Maypole. Okay. Now, guys, needless to say, in our previous lesson we spoke about the type of drinks that people drank in the Middle Ages. We know that they didn't really drink water because water was dirty, water was not clean, but they drank a lot of beer. And the reason why they drank beer, we know, is because beer was clean. Now, how come beer is clean? Well, beer is clean because when you brew beer, you must boil it. So in the boiling process, that got rid of any of the germs or bacteria from the water when it was made into beer. So, guys, at all of these festivals, whether it's Maypole or Christmas, or any particular holiday, guys, they would have drank loads and loads of beer. Okay, so they would have got in the Middle Ages, people would have got extremely drunk at these festivals. Okay, so they really when in the Middle Ages, when they did get off, when they were on holiday, they really really enjoyed it, and they really really, I suppose, partied hard. They drank a lot, they ate a lot, and they suppose they enjoyed themselves. Okay, and you can't blame them either, because I suppose their life was so difficult. When they did get a few days off, they like to blow off some steam and kind of forget about the hard labor they have to do every day. Okay, so guys, in front of you there, you've got four short questions. Okay, I know I given you a longer question to do yesterday in our live class. So what I want you to do is answer these four questions, and also, guys, answer the long question as well. And these are due for Monday, so I want these in Monday's class. We'll have another live lesson then, again next week, along with a couple of recorded lessons. Okay, but I'll let you know what day that live lesson is on next week. Guys, thanks very much for tuning in. Have a good weekend, and please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any problems or issues. Thanks again.